Cardinal encourages citizens to reflect and plan ahead. Community development ends year with Christmas cheer for inmates. And NHC Lae responds to false eviction claims.
This is National EMTV News with Neville Joy.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. This is Friday's news. Goodman Fielders today drew the winners to what would be their biggest ever competition to date under its Flame Flower brand. The Flame Wynnum House competition featured as its two major prizes full P&G Forest product kit homes. The first prize was a complete New Homes Billas kit home valued at $264,000, and the second prize a New Homes Poraman kit home valued at 140,000 kina. Users of Flame Flower were required to cut out Flame Flower kina coupons of Flame Flower packets to enter the competition. Almost 300,000 Wynnum House entries were collected, and at midday today, the lucky winners were drawn. The first prize winner is Gainkial Kamira from the nation's capital, who won the Billas kit home, and the second prize went to Levan Jonah from Bumbu, who won the Poraman kit home. This festive season, we'll take the story then. The Community Development Department today concluded the 2017 fiscal year on a high and positive note. They visited detainees at the Bomana prison outside Port Moresby. Department head Anna Solomon says the visit is timely and was planned in the true spirit of Christmas.
It was the close of government business today for Papua New Guinea's public service. And while most departments would have concluded the 2017 fiscal year peacefully and others go for the Christmas functions, for the Community Development Department, it was a different approach, a different story. Today, the department led by Secretary Anna Solomon visited the inmates at the Bomana prison outside Port Moresby.
So you make it walking wrong now, come inside here, but you don't know, family outside, how all by strong and all they'll come here and they'll try and feed you the best food. So while we are in here, you must think. Me come na me stop lo here na sorry lo mama blow me. Sorry lo papa blow me. Sorry for my sister. Sorry for my brother. So those sacrifices, but I was excited, very excited. We cooked the best food.
Christmas gifts were donated to the female inmates and also sporting equipment to the male inmates.
On behalf of the minister, on behalf of myself, my family, all my management team and staff of the department, the families, Blomipla, me like wishing people all get along here a very Merry Christmas. Now 2018, me wishing people all get a very good health with a lot of good responsibilities that will shape you to be excellent citizens of Papua New Guinea.
In the meantime, CS Commissioner Michael Waipo has acknowledged the Community Development Department for its effort in helping the Bomana prison.
Activities that you have been involved in throughout the course of this year, not just here but throughout the country. I am honored to be here today, especially at the tail end of the serious programs that you've been involved in.
Educate and influence our people, how best we can make our country a free and a better society. Let me on this note, wish you all our visiting friends a safe and a very Merry Christmas, and of course, a prosperous 2018.
Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
The Higher Education Department is calling on the Institute of Business Studies University to take responsibility to get accreditation and be registered as a higher education institution. This call came from Higher Education Secretary Father Jan Juba, following the department's recent announcement that IBSU's accreditation was temporary and had expired.
The Higher Education Secretary maintains that IBSU's approval for registration as a university was merely political and its accreditation as a higher learning institution was temporary and had expired on October this year. The issue was brought to light when MTV queried why IBSU was not registered and excluded in the national selections.
IBSU was established at the beginning as a TAFE college and registered on PNJIP and the Company Act. Later on, they had aspiration to be a university. To be a university in our country, institution has to meet 12 standards for quality assurance to be accredited. So they got accreditation, temporary accreditation for 3 years as a credit. Yeah. During these 3 years, they're supposed to apply for independent institutional accreditation. They didn't.
However, IBSU claims they have met the requirements and is registered as per a gazetted notice of 24th of January 2017.
The government has recognized that IBS as a university, and if the department has endorsed this application to the National Executive Council, that means we believe that department is recognizing us as a university.
After the broadcast of this story, the Higher Education Secretary says the only body to recommend an establishment of any institution is the National Higher Technical Education Board.
According to our law in our country, the only body which can recommend the establishment of institutions of higher learning or university is the National Higher Technical Education Board. That's the only body. This body was in existence. The board was existing. I was the chairman of the board. Never any application came from IBS.
And he has called on IBSU to take responsibility. While the blame game continues, IBSU confirmed that they have written 500 acceptance letters to school leavers who had chosen IBSU to study for the 2018 academic year. IBSU says the numbers are expected to increase and they will assist students to reapply.
Those who have selected IBS University as their next destination, they can contact and we will enroll them. We will continue our degree programs because we got the blessing from the highest authority of the country. So if anyone has to withdraw it, that highest authority has to withdraw. So therefore, we have no reason to do that because we have done everything properly according to the Higher Education General Provision Act. Yeah. So we will stay in the situations where we are, and our legal rights will be taken into account.
In the meantime, Father Jan says his responsibility as a secretary to the department is to protect the credibility of qualifications for higher education institution.
If IBS wants to be a university, they have to demonstrate they are matching our standards. And they got from me 4 letters inviting them to go through the external academic audit to be recognized. They refused. So I don't know why they're refusing. Papua New Guineans should be aware of an institution which is not recognized by our system. If they put their children, they put their children on their own risk. And as a secretary for the higher education sector, I will do everything to protect the academic currency of our degrees, diplomas, or certificates. I cannot compromise.
Stacey Yalo, National MTV News.
Papua New Guinea has entered into a series of agreements with India, where both countries have agreed to a number of concrete follow-up actions between now and the first quarter of 2018. The agreements follow the visit of a team of government officials led by National Planning Minister Richard Marrow to India to address aspects of existing and potential cooperation between the two countries. Minister Marrow says it's PNG's objective to have a broader scope of partners to support its development agenda. Both countries have agreed to take action to strengthen engagements in data intelligence and maintenance, trade and investment, mobilization of resources, communication technology, education, national identification, health, visa and tourism, science and technology, small to medium enterprises, and textiles. You're watching the news this Friday. On the other side of this break, National Housing Corporation Lae responds to eviction controversy. That story and more when we come back. Welcome back to the news. National Housing Corporation's Kenneth Cook says appropriate action will be taken against people who have been conducting illegal evictions in Lae. An NHC official is expected to be in Lae for verification of claims before deliberate actions are executed. In the meantime, Housing Minister John Kaupa maintains that these evictions are illegal.
A senior NHC official has been sent to Lae to verify claims regarding illegal evictions that have been happening in the city. In a statement released by the acting managing director yesterday, the NHC will take appropriate action against those conducting these evictions. Mr. Kenneth Cook said they have to establish the facts surrounding these evictions. Last week Friday, 2 health workers were evicted from their homes. Both women were told they had areas to pay.
All they demanded from me is come and pay it here at the office counter.
Their families were forced to sleep out on the street for more than 4 nights. They've both moved back into their homes this week after attaining stay orders from the district court.
Big relief straight Lomilo. We can come back and inside the house now.
According to Mr. Cook, the eviction processes on these properties began in 2016. The tenants were given notices. However, unsatisfactory responses caused the Lae office to seek court orders to evict the victims. Earlier this week, Minister for Housing John Kaupa said he wasn't aware of these evictions, calling them illegal.
In the case of Lae, it's not coming from my office.
Sikopana, National EMTV News, Lae.
Lae-based non-government organization Family PNG has released a report that shows most women and children suffer from verbal abuse, threats, and physical violence. The report shows that the organization helped over 900 people who are victims of abuse and domestic violence. More than 800 clients were assisted, and it's alleged that the main perpetrator is usually a family member.
Family PNG Lae, established in 2014, runs a case management center in which helps survivors of family and sexual violence access the services needed. Services include counseling, transport and support to obtain legal, medical and police services. Operations Manager Denga Ilave says over 900 cases were attended to. 837 involve women and 162 are of children.
A lot of partners who provide services to family and sexual violence survivors can confirm that there are also increasing number of children who are abused also, and those children are not only abused by men, they are also being abused by women as well, or both men and women acting together.
The Family PNG Center also assists clients with referrals from other provinces. The report covers the first 2 years of their operations. Most adults who seek assistance are women who suffer from verbal abuse, threats, and physical violence. From the 900 cases reported, 855 of these cases are caused by a family member. And when it comes to children, 702 are male perpetrators and 90 are female.
Our law now says the Family Protection Act, one of its principles says domestic violence is not a private matter, it's a public matter. So every one of us should work together in order to see change in our society.
Violence and abuse is common in the country, practiced in all communities. Most affected are women and children. Family and gender-based violence is everyone's problem that needs collective efforts to bring changes. The Family and Sexual Violence Action Committee in Lae is one such organization that is working closely to bring changes in the communities. Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Lae.
Mstrat Holdings Limited, a local ICT company, has ventured into providing internet services to assist other SMEs and the education sector. Founder Vani Nades, who has a background in education, started the business in the hope of raising education standards and assist SMEs to communicate with the global community. Today, Mstrat Holdings Limited officially launched their newest invention of a solar-powered Wi-Fi internet buggy. Enga Governor Sapita Ipatas, who officiated at the launch, has also partnered with the company to provide internet services in schools in his province.
Amstrat Holding Limited is a licensed company under NICTA to provide another solution for faster internet and eco-friendly and portable high-speed internet.
And in May 2016, we obtained our NICTA license for individual network license, network gateway license, and individual license, so 3 licenses.
With her experience in education, she hopes the company would allow students in remote areas in PNG to access internet for learning purposes. They have just completed setting up Koppen Secondary School in Wabek as a pilot project in partnership with the Enga provincial government.
We couldn't be able to do training because we are approaching New Year, so we have to do it come January, and that will be our case study of without internet and now internet and the success rate of the kids and the teachers of they can be able to teach having internet access.
Not only for education but also for SMEs to connect with the global community.
And I want to open the same thing for all SMEs and entrepreneurs in PNG, and working together with ICT Class, I'm sure we can be able to do it, not only for ICT but inclusive for everybody else.
The newest invention, a solar-powered Wi-Fi internet buggy, locally built and by Papua New Guineans, hopes to be a portable solution. It was officially launched by the Enga Governor, Sir Peter Ipetas. Meanwhile, Sir Ipetas says this will allow students in Enga to access educational materials on the internet to raise the standard of learning.
So there must be an alternate way of actually giving information and knowledge to the kids. And I think, this is an innovative thing that we fully endorse and support, because our kids, obviously, if they're being taught, they can also cross-check using the internet on the information that has been given by a teacher. So, we feel that this is the way to go forward, and so that's why we have partnered Wani Amstrat and the team.
The pilot project at Koppen Secondary is expected to produce positive results and, if beneficial, will be rolled out throughout the province.
Very clean job, tidy, and I believe that next year, come January, February, when the students and the teachers start to use the internet, then obviously we will see that we will achieve what we want to achieve. But as a province, we want to invest in IT. We believe that that's the way to go.
Adelaide Xerox Kari National, MTV News.
And now taking a look at our finance news, the Kina closed unchanged at $0.3095 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying $0.302 $0.3882 Australian dollars, $0.2504 euro, and 33.86 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading lower, coffee and cocoa closed lower also, while copper closed the day higher. Crude oil is trading lower, while palm oil and copper closed the day higher. And lastly, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 55.64 points higher, the ASX closed at 9.35 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 11.0 points higher. This is Friday's news you're watching. We'll have stories making headlines overseas after these messages. Don't go away. Welcome back to the news. Before we turn overseas, this festive season is a good time for Papua New Guineans from all walks of life to reflect on developments that took place in the country this year and plan for the new year. This message from Cardinal Sir John Ribat, who took time out to address the nation in his Christmas message.
Dear people of Papua New Guinea,
Cardinal Sir John Ribat, in his Christmas message, highlighted the developments in 2017, such as more church buildings erected across the country, hospitals upgraded, establishment of more schools, and roads and bridges built.
The government launched a few new reforms to improve the quality of education and higher education, the quality of health care delivery, and address the many social issues we face as a nation.
The Cardinal spoke of the environmental issues that are affecting the nation and its people, pointing out seabed mining as one of the major concerns, given the fact that PNG is already facing the effects of climate change.
To be united, working together on how we can better help people affected by high-rise sea level. Carteret Islands, the islands of Manus, Aarhus, and Andhra, and the many islands also that are not mentioned. The environment, I am seeing that the government and those who will be directly affected are not ready to face another catastrophe. The environment, the marine lives will be very much affected by this project. The people from KVN and others have raised their concern and have called on the government and the company to listen and make decisions for the common good of all. And that is to stop the deep seabed mining.
The economic effects of the global economy was felt by every citizen of this nation, one way or another, such as the shortage of funds that had its input on the quality of education and health offered to the people.
Some of our citizens contributed to those challenges by daily corruption practices. We experienced some difficulties during our election time. However, all those problems did not break our nation and did not put us apart or drive us more away from each other and our Christian principles. As we could witness during this year, those experiences brought us closer to our Savior, Jesus Christ.
However, the Cardinal reminded the people of Papua New Guinea of the meaning of Christmas and the New Year's season as the ideal time to begin with new and positive change in one's life.
This calling, I mean to call on all leaders and all our people in our district, provinces, and parishes, and in our nation, to make an effort to be united addressing all this. The arrival of the Christ, the Savior, represents the coming of Jesus to all of God's people. Let us all in Papua New Guinea to have one mission, to be light of Jesus to each other.
Cardinal Ribat added that for years, church and government have been conducting campaigns against the use of alcohol during the Christmas and New Year period because of the danger they pose to life, poverty, health and safety of the people and the environment.
The Catholic Church is advocating alternative ways of celebrating the birthday of Jesus Christ and greeting the New Year, which do not have the adverse effects of using money to buy alcohol. To make welcome the New Year, each PNG family could gather over food and say together a prayer of thanksgiving to God.
Sharing the same sentiments is Bishop Rokus Tatamai, who spoke of challenging aspects of the festive season.
Christmas is about others. It's about the other. It's about the importance of the other person, their well-being and their goodness, their respect, their acknowledgement of who they are. That is why how God considers us as important, and He chose our dignity and chose our life as important. So God has shown us you have to focus on others. You have to focus on the beauty and the goodness and the dignity of others.
Shane Saroya, National EMTV News.
And turning overseas now, Apple has been hit with a class action lawsuit after admitting it deliberately slows down older models of iPhones. The tech giant says its standard is to help preserve battery life.
Users on online forum Reddit complained their iPhones were running slow. Canadian computer scientist John Poole dug into the problem.
Your web browser will be slower, instant messaging will be slower, your camera will be slower. Basically, it'll affect almost all the functionality of your phone, save for actually making phone calls.
He found, as he posted on his Geekbench blog, that Apple was limiting the power going from the phone's battery to its processor, which runs apps and other functions, on purpose, and slowing it down.
At this point in time, the only fix is to replace the battery.
Apple now confirms it, saying the issue came up when the iPhone 6 experienced sudden shutdowns last year. The problem was older batteries crashed while trying to keep up with the phone's power demands, so the company issued a software update which made them run slower.
Should a $1,000 smartphone have this sort of issue, 12, 16, 18, 24 months after it's been shipped, it's disappointing.
Nick Thompson of Wired Magazine says,
they're not making it up, right? They are doing it to prevent spikes so your phone doesn't shut down. Like, that is a perfectly good reason.
But he also told CBS This Morning,
and why are they telling us
about it now?
Well, they're telling us about it because they got busted on Reddit, right? Because,
I was wondering, why are they telling us? They should have just admitted it up front, but they got busted on Reddit. Okay.
Well, because, there are all these forums that have been testing it, and they've kind of proved it.
Apple said in a statement that its goal is to deliver the best experience for its customers, including overall performance and prolonging the life of their devices.
A new ship has said an official welcome to the Portarlington Ferry service today, which is growing after a year of operation. The vessel has Wi-Fi and mobile phone charging stations and is allowed to go faster to cut troubled tides.
We're on board the latest addition to the Port Phillip Ferries fleet, a new $10 million ferry called the Bellarine Express. It was christened by the Governor in Docklands this morning with the traditional smashing of the champagne bottle on the bow. The Bellarine Express will operate the City to Portarlington route, which takes about 90 minutes. The route was opened a year ago and is averaging 180 passengers a day. Paul Little owns the ferry and says Melbourne's appetite for water travel is growing.
We've shown a reasonable leap of faith in putting the capacity on the bay before the demand is there, but I really think it's growing. There's a lot of interest.
The state government claims the ferry to Portarlington has helped small businesses on the Bellarine Peninsula. The ferry was built by well-known shipbuilders Incat in Hobart.
It's designed to be low wash on the river when it's going slow, and it's also designed to be quite a comfortable boat in rough water on the bay.
The state government has increased the speed limit for the ferry on the Yarra to get it going a little bit quicker, and it's also signed a deal with the ferries to keep them going for at least another year.
Perfect day for it too. Melbourne's firefighters today delivered a truckload of presents to some very needy kids. Over the past couple of months, they've been collecting hundreds of gifts.
To New Zealand, and Kiwis on a minimum wage have been given an early Christmas present by the government. It's a pay rise. But reports say the present cannot be redeemed until April next year.
They can hardly be mistaken for Santa Claus, but he paced through Parliament today to deliver a big present.
The government plans to raise the minimum wage to $16.50.
But before Kiwis go out and spend big, there's a catch. It doesn't come into force for more than 3 months.
I think a lot of people will go into Christmas very happy to know that their wages are going to increase in the middle of next year.
On the streets of Wellington, though, it was welcome news.
It really helps to have a little bit of extra money just to be able to live comfortably and not worry.
As a society, we need to aim for greater equality and less poverty.
I know that it's very tough to live on not a lot of money.
It's still not like amazing money, but you'd be like, I can do this. It's a little bit better.
I think that's a good thing.
The current rate of $15.75 will increase to $16.50 from April 1st next year, followed by subsequent increases in 2019 and 2020, so that by the year 2021, the minimum wage hits $20 an hour. The cost of businesses of rolling out a minimum wage of $20 an hour is hard to predict, but MB estimates it could be more than $2.3 billion. ACT Party leader David Seymour doesn't want the minimum wage increased and says the government was warned it would affect job growth.
Their own advice tells them if they put the minimum wage up to $16.50, then about 3,000 people will miss out on a job altogether.
More people will have money in their back pocket, and that's good for businesses because it means more people spending money in businesses, creating jobs and creating economic growth.
Next year's increase will cost the Crown around $19 million for all of those government workers on the minimum wage. New Zealand posties are 20% busier this year compared to Christmas last year.
And they say it's all due to online shopping. There is more spending and figures are also showing record-breaking growth. And today was the busiest 2-hour period they faced all year.
It's the Friday before Christmas and everyone from posties to general managers at New Zealand Post are on deck to get these presents and packages to where they need to be, under someone's tree.
It's been absolutely huge. We predicted there'd be about 42 million letters and parcels delivered in December, and it's looking like we might even be a little bit more than that.
In order to meet the demand, New Zealand Post has taken on an extra 600 staff, 200 vans, 13 trucks and even an extra 737 aircraft. And they're putting the massive volume of deliveries down to one thing.
New Zealand Post is more and more delivering parcels and fewer letters, and that is down to the huge boom in online shopping.
Online fashion website ASOS continues to smash its own sales records year after year, while retail chain Topshop and Topman failed when they launched in New Zealand, a lack of sales closing the stores within 18 months. But if you think that means the days of shopping mall retail are over, think again.
I don't really shop online, but old school. I wouldn't do it.
I think the waiting times are a bit untrustworthy.
No, never. I'm from the Gold Coast.
Paymark processes EFTPOS transactions across the country. They've been monitoring how many sales have been made every second, and today between midday and 2 p.m. we shopped more than ever before.
So last year we had a peak of 177 transactions per second at about 12:30 in the middle of the day. This year I think we've already exceeded that. We had 178 yesterday on Thursday. We'll probably exceed 180.
And Paul Brislin says with the imminent launch of Amazon in New Zealand, the battle for the retail dollar is only just beginning.
And we're not seeing a decline in terms of shopping. We're seeing growth right across the board. So that I suspect means that we're shopping even more than these figures would suggest.
And it's not over yet. Westfield malls like this one in St Luke's are open till 11:59 tonight.
Saudi Arabia says it has intercepted Houthi missiles fired at Riyadh for the second time in 2 months. The Houthi rebels in Yemen say this video shows the launches. They say they targeted the Saudi royal palace. No casualties have been reported, but the long-running war is taking another disturbing turn.
The Houthi rebels posted online the launch of the missile, a Burkan or Volcano 2H, a modified Scud. It was aimed at the Saudi capital, Riyadh, where an image of a plume of white smoke was captured moments after the missile was intercepted by a U.S.-supplied Patriot anti-missile system. The target, according to the Houthis, was a meeting of the Saudi leadership at Al Yamama Palace outside Riyadh. Saudi Arabia accuses Iran of supplying the Houthis with weapons, a charge Iran denies. In a lengthy speech broadcast on a Houthi-run TV station, the rebels' leader, Abdelmalek al-Houthi, declared that Riyadh and Abu Dhabi, capitals of the two largest members of the Saudi-led coalition, are now in range. He said after 1,000 days had passed since the start of the Saudi-led offensive against the Houthis, a new phase had begun in the war. They attacked our facilities and we will attack theirs, he said. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. In early November, the Houthis fired a similar missile at Riyadh's international airport. The level of violence has increased dramatically recently. According to the United Nations, airstrikes by the Saudi-led coalition have killed 115 civilians in the last 11 days. More than 8 million Yemenis are on the brink of famine, while supplies of food, fuel, and medicine are desperately low as a result of the Saudi embargo. The United Nations is trying to act as a peacemaker, but it appears no one is listening.
A U.S. military program has got people talking of secretive operations, spending millions of taxpayer dollars to investigate UFOs. Yes, unidentified flying objects. Skeptics say the project was a waste of time. But a former Pentagon official who was in charge says he believes we may not be alone.
Commander David Fravor still can't explain what he says he saw that day.
November 2004, the Navy fighter pilot was on a training mission west of San Diego when he was ordered to check out something in the water not far away. On a clear day, over a smooth ocean, he saw the object, waves breaking over it, and says he saw something hovering above it.
It's randomly moving north, south, east, west, just random, just stopping, going the other direction, like you could do with a helicopter, but a little bit more abrupt. It looks like a 40-foot-long tic-tac with no wings.
Fravor says he and his four-man team tracked the object for several minutes until it just disappeared. CNN has learned the Pentagon had a secretive program to research UFOs like the one Fravor spotted. The project was called the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program, run by an official named Luis Elizondo.
What I wanted to do was to allow the data to speak for itself and then use that data to inform leadership, senior DoD leadership, about the potential threat that these type of technologies pose to national security. Through the observation, scientific methodologies that were applied to look at this phenomena, that these aircraft, we'll call them aircraft, are displaying characteristics that are not currently within the U.S. inventory nor in any foreign inventory that we are aware of.
A defense official tells CNN the program cost at least $22 million over 5 years before it was shut down in 2012. According to the New York Times and Politico, which first reported this story, tens of millions of dollars for the project were pushed through by former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid. Those publications say a lot of the money for the Pentagon UFO program went to a company called Bigelow Aerospace, run by a longtime friend of Reid's, Robert Bigelow, a big believer in UFOs. Public records show Bigelow contributed about $20,000 to Reid and his Political Action Committee.
That campaign contributor got research contracts from this program. That just is a bad picture. It doesn't look good for anybody. It's hard to imagine that something that came about that way and profited somebody who pushed for the program was a good use of taxpayer money.
A Pentagon spokesman, in fact, told CNN the program was shuttered because there were, quote, other higher priority issues that merited funding.
It's definitely crazy to spend $22 million to research UFOs. Pilots are always going to see things that they can't identify, and we should probably look into them. But to identify them as UFOs, to target UFOs to research, that is not the priority we have as a national security matter right now.
But pilots like Fravor, who says he saw something, see merits in the program.
What if it is real? Because I think it's real because I saw it. And what if there's more of these? And what if we do nothing?
You're with National EMTV News this Friday. We have True Guy Sports for you coming up next. Don't go away.
True Guy Sports.
Welcome to True Guy Sports. The match schedule for both the men's and women's HSBC Sydney Sevens 2018 tournament have been set. Papua New Guinea has been placed in Pool C in the men's competition and in the women's in Pool A.
Will they have the pace to beat what is
79 matches will be played at the Allianz Stadium in Sydney, Australia. 12 teams will be taking part in the tournament, with Dubai champions and hosts Australia will begin the second leg of the series, playing France, Spain and PNG in Pool A. New Zealand will play USA, England and Japan in Pool B, while Canada face Russia, Ireland and Fiji in Pool C.
Celtic gives chase, she won't catch her.
16 teams will participate in the men's sevens competition, with the All Blacks topping the standings after their victory in Cape Town. They play Fiji, Samoa and Russia in Pool A. Argentina will contest in Pool B against France, Wales and Kenya, while reigning Sydney champions South Africa will play England, Spain and PNG in Pool C. Canada, USA, Australia and Scotland will compete in Pool D. The tournament kicks off on the 26th of January 2018 and runs for 3 days, with the finals on the 28th.
Tackle now!
Elijah Levitt, National EMTV Sports.
Back home, Team MSU Eagles are the champions of the Bomana Detainees men's volleyball tournament after defeating Highway Tigers 3-2. Captain Henny Naime was proud of their win, attributing it to the individual efforts of every Eagle on the team.
The grand final matches of the Bomana D Tennis Tournament officially kicked off today with the presence of Community Development Department Secretary Anna Solomon. 3 sporting codes in final were volleyball, rugby, touch and soccer. In volleyball, defending champions MSU Eagles retained the title after edging out Highway Tigers 3 sets to 2. MSU won the first set 25 points to 19 after registering the first 10 points. But Tigers came hard in the second set, taking a clear lead. Tigers captain Simon Kauka displayed an outstanding performance as the great hitter. Tigers secured the third set and maintained the position, winning again the third set with a difference of 10 points, 25 points to 10. However, after a timeout, MSU Eagles retaliated with strong defense, leaving Tigers scoreless in the first 12 points. Eagles grabbed the fourth set with 25 points to 12. Eagles' strong defense weakened Tigers' position for them coming home as champions for another year.
MSU ang strong team lo. Pagera season sa kamab lo. Pagera time sa final. Matayo pe mo sa mipla making bisia. Kam lo. End of the final lo mipla na mipla winning again.
For Tigers, they will have to put more effort in training for next year's tournament.
Yeah, we have playing some special days plus a play special during September 16 and Christmas and Easter. Those are the special. Yeah, now we play, but we do so. We will try best out next game for next year. So.
The grand finalists also acknowledged the presence of Secretary for Community Development Department Anna Solomon.
MSU me like wishing Christmas pembela wishing like passing Christmas pembela lo olgara paras lo or image pembela paras lo Highway Tigers to thank you lo this game and we wishing lo Merry Christmas lo Monday.
Merry Christmas from MSU. Happy New Year.
Fabian Haklitz, National EMTV Sports.
You're watching True Guys Sports. We'll have more for you when we come back. Stay tuned.
True Guys Sports.
Welcome back to True Guys Sports. FIFA has reduced sanctions to Peru's Paolo Guerrero following a positive drug test. Guerrero is Peru's team captain.
Now, another significant story we're following this Wednesday concerning a former FC Bayern player, actually. He's the captain of the Peruvian national team, Paolo Guerrero, and he's had his one-year suspension, this for a positive drug test, reduced to 6 months. Why is that key? Well, because it will now allow him to play for the South Americans at next year's FIFA World Cup in Russia. The 33-year-old, he actually tested positive for a banned stimulant found in cocaine back in October. As a result, he missed out on Peru's two-legged playoff victory over New Zealand, and it looked like he was going to miss out on his country's first World Cup since 1982. Guerrero has always maintained his positive test was due to the medicine he took to fight the flu.
Australia's Mitchell Starc says a bruised heel won't keep him out of the Boxing Day test, but that may not be his call.
Starc had his foot on ice after the third test and left Perth on crutches. David Warner admits he looked sore but isn't ruling him out yet.
Looks a bit sore. I know, he'll be up and about trying to get, as well as he can prepared to play the game. That's obviously up to him and the medical staff to see how he's placed.
Jackson Bird is likely to come in if Starc is ruled out.
And that story wraps up True Guys Sports for tonight. We'll be back with a quick look at your weather details for the next 24 hours. Don't go away.
True Guys Sports. True Kai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. With doing with Dulux. And a quick look at the weather for the next 24 hours. In the southern region only, it's brief showers everywhere. The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. With doing with Dulux. And that's the news, sports and weather for today, Friday the 22nd of December 2017. We are 2 sleeps away from Christmas Day. From the entire EMTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.